Happy anniversary to you. I totally missed your anniversary. We were out of town, we were camping, and sorry. I don't know, is the 4th year anniversary a big deal?
Well, do we have to acknowledge? I don't acknowledge your anniversary.
Okay, so we're just cool if like,
yeah,
you just do your own thing as an anniversary with Princeton, we'll do our own thing, we don't have to. Well, so today we want to kind of look back on Diana and Princeton's wedding day. It was a beautiful, incredible wedding, but there might have been a thing or two you would have done a little different.
Maybe one regret.
Well, hi, I'm Dawn from The Minimal Mom. So glad to be joined by my identical twin sister, Diana. You just celebrated 4 years of marriage.
I don't know if anybody can relate to this. You know, we got married in our early 30s, and so being a little older, I feel like we've been married for 15 years.
Really? That's
like, I was like, oh,
yeah.
We're celebrating our 4th wedding anniversary, and I'm like,
only 4?
Yeah.
So we seem like kids.
Isn't that great? I mean, I think it shows
that's good,
we like each other. Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
that's good.
And so Diana got married on a beautiful day in June. We'll kind of set the stage. It was at my parents' farm.
Yep.
And well, let's talk a little bit about Indian culture, because you married Princeton, and so he had a set of expectations.
Right.
For the wedding as well.
Oh my goodness. So the weddings that he's used to attending are grand, and they're beautiful, and they're brightly colored, and there's choreographed dancing, and there's amazing food. And so we had to actually bring the ballroom to the farm. and then combine the cultures, which was so fun.
Yeah.
And it was important to me that this be a celebration of marriage, you know, and just an emphasis. I wanted actually everyone to be celebrated, and for this to just be honoring of marriage and everything. So that meant we rented this huge, amazing tent. We had linens. Our linens actually came from India, and they were beautiful. So then now I'm thinking like, okay, everything has to be grand, but I'm still a farm girl. We're still very crafty. And so my mom was in charge of the centerpieces. And so we were coming up with these different displays, but how we could still do it ourselves. And so it was awesome. But do you want to know what I regret?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what happened. Friends of ours got married exactly 1 month prior to us, and I was so excited for their wedding because I was so excited to attend a wedding as a guest and just look around if there's anything we would do differently, you know, kind of glean from it. The wedding was beautiful. We got through the ceremony, and we're at the reception, and we're eating our food and, you know, talking and everything. And all of a sudden I look up and realize I haven't even paid attention to the centerpiece. Like, in all of everything happening, I didn't even really care. And they just had a nice little flower arrangement, and I'm like, that's nice. That's all you need.
Plenty.
At home, I had a garage filled with things that had been covered in gold spray paint, and we were getting flower arrangements to put in them, and we had 3 different designs. One of them was tall, the other was shorter, you know, so that it would balance out in the tent. And I was looking at that, and I was like, I put way too much effort into that. And that's just like an example. There were other things then that I realized, like, oh, I was trying to do all the things. I was trying to have every single element of the wedding be Pinterest worthy. And really the advice then I started giving out after that, and what I wish I would have focused on, is like, what are the 1 or 2 things that are really important to us? You know, and that would be kind of our thing or our statement. And so that's, you know.
And what would that be? What do you think what would have been if you would have just kind of focused in on this thing?
I think the ceremony was really important to us, and we made it kind of all centered around a whole celebration of marriage.
Which was really cool. I think you guys nailed that part. I thought that was awesome.
We had our guests even share their wedding photos and used it in our decor, because especially I felt like combining the cultures to see some of the Indian wedding photos, which are so different, you know, from the American ones and stuff, was a fun way to bring everybody together.
And you had those playing on like a slideshow before, when people were coming into the church, the wedding, the photos were playing,
and do you remember we also had a tree, because a tree represents covenant that we were going to plant. We also had like a time capsule, so people were supposed to write stuff to go in the time capsule. And nobody did. I have like 5 cards in the thing, because it kind of got put off to the side. I also made coloring books for the kids at the ceremony, because I thought there's gonna be a lot of kids there. I don't want them interrupting my day. And I never heard one thing about the coloring books. I don't even know if they got put out.
Yeah.
So that's definitely an
and even like you
of,
realize like the pew decorations probably didn't have to be a big deal.
Exactly. Like, because the stage is really what everybody's looking at, and we had, you know, some nice flowers on the stage. That's all that really was needed. Because again, hey, eyes on the bride, right?
Yeah, right.
And so, oh, and even do you remember I invented our own unity celebration? So, because I'm like, everybody does sand or, you know, whatever. And so it turns out if you take colored water, anyway, pour it into a vase, then it all became clear. So it really signified us coming together
you can't
and being
separate
one.
that,
Yeah.
right?
But like,
Yeah.
it wasn't needed. We could have poured sand in a vase or lit candles and it would have been fine.
No, I did think though your focus on, I thought it was really fun that you had people send in their wedding photos ahead of time. You added up all the years of marriage that were represented there, which I believe was over 400. We'll see if we can track that number down. But I thought it was fun that when people came in, they got to see pictures of themselves and other people there. And so it felt really inclusive of all your guests. So I thought you guys did that well.
And that's what I would do differently then. That would have stayed my focus. I would have
celebration of
simplified
marriage.
Yep. I would have simplified all of the decor. I would have gotten rid of the time capsule and the coloring books and
probably, I mean, something you had no control over. It was like the hottest day of the year.
Oh my, and we were running out of water. Do you remember
that?
So they had to like start carrying water from the house
Okay.
down to the reception. Luckily, I was blissfully unaware of all of that. We had a really good team, and so
and the dancing was so fun, and that
so
came together well. That I mean, it was an awesome wedding.
Everything about it. It was the happiest day of my life. I posted that on Facebook, and then I'm like, okay, wait, when my kids were born was that, but no, this was the happiest day. Yeah. That was, when the kids were born was the greatest day. Okay. But this, I don't think I've ever had.
The funnest, like.
I've probably never smiled that much in my life, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Yep, that's awesome.
And you know, a couple weeks ago, do you remember on Father's Day, we started talking about love and respect? Yeah. And I think it's timely when we're talking about weddings too. Yeah. And I actually have been digging into this a little more because I've just been re-centered and established in how important respect is. And one thing that pops up, so again, the premise is women need love and men need respect, right? In every area, even outside of a marriage, you know, our bosses, our brothers and fathers, and it's just kind of the fuel that drives us. And so I've been kind of just recentering my heart in this, and a big thing that'll come up when you start talking about this is people will say, well, hey, what if my husband isn't respectable? What if he makes decisions that I don't agree with or that have hurt me or my family? You know, I think a lot of us bump into that because no one's perfect. And the thing is that as women, we want unconditional love. You know, like I know that sometimes my tone gets out of control. I get impatient. You know, I don't follow through with what I say I'm gonna do. You know, whatever it is. And I still expect my husband to be gracious and loving toward me. I expect his tone to stay loving, you know. And so we expect unconditional love, but for some reason the inverse of that, to extend unconditional respect, feels like no, respect should be earned.
Oh yeah. Oh, I feel like I've said that. Okay, go ahead.
You're like, oh, yeah, I know.
Shoot, I was just nodding along.
It just
like,
got us all. Yeah, like right here.
Yep.
And so,
okay, keep going.
And so, here's the thing to hold on to. We don't have to like or endorse the decision, but we do have to keep a respectful tone and attitude. You know, the way we respond, you know, instead of react, the way that we speak about it and to our husband or
the way we say, can you tell me more about that? Instead of like, why did you do that?
You always do this. How could you do that to me? You know?
Oh yeah, this is good.
It's so hard. But as I was digging into it, the testimonies I was reading was actually, they were so instant. How when the tone changed and the attitude changed toward respect, how then there was a willingness to talk about it more, a willingness to try and make things different and move forward in a different way. And so it's biblical. This is grounded in Ephesians 5:22. Dawn's gonna put a title up if that was wrong. That was off the top of my head. And it's right there that men love your wives and women respect your husbands. And it's all grounded in this. We're made in God's image. And he has such a respect for life and for us. And so our husbands also are made in God's image, the men in our lives. And so we have to extend that same grace and respect, just like we again expect them to extend that love toward us.
No, that's good. I'm just thinking, I'm like, I should probably start reading The Power of a Praying Wife again.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
think anytime anything feels hard, right? That it's always good to like be constantly inputting things that are gonna support us in this, because if we're just trying to do it like out of our own strength and our own flesh, we get tired and then we revert back to our old ways. But if we're inputting things that are encouraging us and building us up in that way, and we're hearing stories about it. I love that about that book, The Power of a Praying Wife, is there's lots of testimonies. But also if we're asking the Lord for strength, because like, Lord, help me, right?
Yeah.
Like, Lord, give me strength. This is so hard for me. That's what the testimony is born out of though, right?
Yeah.
To say, I couldn't do this. It was hard, you know, I couldn't do it in my own strength. And so I had to ask the Lord for strength, and I had to persevere, and I had to learn new ways of doing this. That's where the testimony comes from, and we can be victorious on the other side.
Yeah.
And so when it's not easy.
And I think I love this. I found a list of 100 ways to respect your husband.
Oh.
We can link to it.
You can be like,
I know. Because
Top
along with prayer, what will help us is developing new habits.
Yeah.
And I just love this one. Number 32. It says, respond to his thoughts with enthusiasm. Isn't that good?
Yeah, no,
Rather
that's
than
good.
being, you know, Princeton recently has been doing a lot with the stock market and learning a lot about it. And he was telling me how millennials have started investing, and younger people have started taking their stimulus money and investing in the stock market, and then what that's doing to the dynamic of the stocks. And
Wow.
see, that's what happened to my face though. I was like,
oh,
okay, you know. But he was like so excited about it, and I'm like, I can get into this, like tell me more. You know. And so I just love that one, responding with enthusiasm. The one before it though is just like gonna get you. Avoid criticizing him.
I read a quote one time that said, unasked for advice is criticism, and that's always stuck with me. It's so hard, isn't it? It's so...
Here's a good one, ask for his help.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So these are awesome. I think pick one or two, develop some new habits. Again, I've really been working on my tone and just being more patient, and I love it. It's actually been awesome. So
well, you guys have only been married 4 years.
I'm just kidding. 15 years. Just kidding. Not. It's true. Although baby number 2, I mean, things get real. You know, you're like having to divide and conquer and communicate, and so. So Father, I ask, Lord, help us to persevere, help us to be respectful, Lord, toward every person in our lives. The truth is they're made in your image, Lord, that you've gifted them, you've called them, you've placed them in our lives. Sometimes we just see the hard things, or we focus on the failings. Lord God, help us to see each person in our life through your eyes. And Lord, help us to extend that same respect that you give to us and toward life. So Father, I ask, Lord, give us grace, give us wisdom, help us to have stories of our own, of how respecting the men in our lives just brings our relationships into a greater order. And so Father, I bless each one of us now in Jesus' name. Amen.